Thank you for being here. My name is Nicolás Venegas, but you can call me Nico. I am with Guzman, is our staff and lead data scientist. So the presentation for today, it's named Scaling Advanced Analytics in the Worst Crisis in the Airlines Industry. Okay? We're going to have a flight of 35 minutes where we want to start with the airline context, also the biggest crisis of the airlines industry, it's named COVID, and of course some overview of the different challenges of machine learning in the industry and for LATAM as well. We bring you some examples of our data products, and we want to share with you our MLOps strategy and some things about our team, like the structure and some achievements. We're going to finish with a space for questions, so if you want to ask something, you can do it there, okay? So, a little context about LATAM, okay? LATAM is the biggest airline in Latin America. You can see in the picture that in terms of quantity of aircraft, we are almost twice than our second competitor. So we have a lot of aircraft, and our fleet is really big. But it's much more than that. LATAM is a world-class airline. We have a lot of awards about the experience of our passengers. The first one that you can see there is almost the Oscars for the industry. And we have also some awards about punctuality, for example. That is really important for us, the punctuality. So you can see that all the different awards is because we have really good leaders for different business areas. In punctuality, for example, we have the last three years the best punctuality on the world in the different airlines, okay? But in 2020, the COVID was the biggest crisis for the history of the airlines. There are some players, some airlines that doesn't exist anymore. There are less demand. We're operating something like 80% of a normal year. This is much more competitive, and you know that it's a really an unknown market because flight today is really different than flight before the COVID, okay? In this picture, you can see maybe for March of 2020, we had almost our entire fleet stopped on the lane because we were operating something like 2 or 3%. It was critical for us. And we wanted to bring you some numbers to understand that crisis. So you can see in the left side that we have, the left side is the last quarter before the pandemic in 2019. And in the right side, you can see the first quarter after the pandemic or during the pandemic, okay? So in terms, for example, of revenue, you can see that we were generating something like $3,000 million for that period. But in the first quarter after the pandemic, we were generating something like $600 million. So we lose a lot of money. But look at those numbers. For example, net income and margin. Maybe the airlines, it is not the best business if you want to gain money, okay? But you can see that we had negative results for those periods. So LATAM was trying to survive, and you can see in the last statistics that we lose a lot of employers. So we was trying to survive, and we lose a lot of colleagues. We were something like 45,000 of people inside LATAM, and we lose almost 1/3 of the company during the pandemic, okay? So this was a big crisis for us. But with a big crisis, you have a good opportunity to improve. And with the pandemic, all the different airlines started a cost reduction and efficiency. And this was particularly important for us as advanced analytics team, because advanced analytics is a team on charge of the efficiency inside LATAM. Our purpose is not to deploy models. Doesn't matter how many models do we have into production. Only matters how much we are generating as impact with those models inside LATAM, okay? So if I have one model generating a lot of impact, that could be really great for us, okay? So we wanted to compare in the same period, but about our team. Before the pandemic, we were a team of 12 people, but we grow 5 times, and we are today more than 50 people. In terms of data product, we had something like 5 data products, and today we have more than 30 data products generating a lot of impact inside LATAM. And that is really particular for our team, because we are measuring the impact for our data products. We know how much we are generating with our data products. So you can see that before the pandemic, we were generating something like dozens of millions of dollars with our data products, but today we are generating more than 100 of millions of dollars with our machine learning and data products. But what data product is for us is something that Chris will explain it.
Thank you very much, Nico. I'm hearing myself clear? Okay. So what are the data products for us? As Nico said, the model is not just everything we do. We like to create our data product based on our outcome, what the business is going to do with that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the business that we have in LATAM here in this slide, and I'm going to give you 4 examples on where we are creating impact with data products and machine learning. So the airline context, we have a lot of business partners, a lot of areas that work with us. So I like to say LATAM has like 2 big companies. In the first part, we have the operational side, where we have problems with contingency, loss backs, passenger cares. We also work a lot with the operational performance, like fuel efficiency. And I'm going to give you an example of that. We work also optimizing our crew. We work also with safety, with black boxes, with sensor data, what I'm going to show you as well, and also with predictive maintenance. That is like with the operational side, which is like our core business to take our passenger from airport A to airport B. And for the commercial side, we have all about revenue. How do we make more revenue with the flights that we have? So there we have some recommendation engines where we are creating marketing campaigns with A/B testing and testing all the outcomes we are getting with those emails and contacting our passengers. We are very focused on our frequently flyer program, which is the biggest in South America, where we understand how our clients are behaving and how can we offer them personalization offers. And also we are a big track on fraud detections. And also we are implementing something that I'm going to show you with revenue management and pricing strategies. So let us start with fuel efficiency. I want the crowd to cover it a little bit. So who has here been in the Guarulhos airport? Nobody? In Sao Paulo? Nobody? 1, 2, 3, okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this airport. This is like the biggest airport, something like the biggest airport in South America. It's like a hub for us because it connects all the flight from South America to Europe. And it's like a really big deal, that airport, because it's really, really congested. So in our fifth example, we have the extra fuel opportunity, where I was once standing right there in the runway with the operational director from LATAM. And he was telling me that he loved the days like here in Toronto, which is like cloudy and a little bit rainy, because when the sun comes and really, really sunny day in Sao Paulo, all the water evaporates, and then they come like big rains, and probably they're going to have to cancel flight and measure our operations. So he doesn't like sunny days. So that is where the opportunity comes with extra fuel, where our captains as dispatcher, flight dispatcher, have to come up with a solution for extra fuel implementation in the flights, because when the airports are really congested, the planes need to hold out and wait for clearance to arrive to the airport. So in that regard, we have to charge extra fuel for those holding if the airport might be congested or we have some weather problems, okay? So what do we do here with this example? So we understood our weather information, where we have the forecast of the weather and the METAR, all the observation in the history. We understand what were our plan data, like how we plan flights and how they actually operate, and how much time they took in the last 100 nautical miles for the airport, because that's where the holdings are made, and the planes need to turn around. I hope nobody has ever lived that, because it's really dizzying. But they have to hold out above the airport. Obviously, you need fuel for that. And those recommendations were based on human insights, on what the dispatcher or what the captain wants. So we train our model to predict how much time it would take for us for the 100 last nautical miles to arrive to the airport. We came up with a really accurate model, and we output that to our flight plan. So all the captains should chart extra fuel, which was a great achievement for us, because you have a really machine learning model, which is really what could be more impactful and important than charging your own plane fuel. So that came with our solutions. But the main challenges were not there. The main challenges were on gaining trust of the operational, because, as Nico said, we have like an operational team which is like the best in the world in on-time performance. So it's really unlikely that they're going to trust crazy data scientists on the first chance they have it. So we have really worked out our way to gain the trust, to gain adherence to our plan and our few recommendations. And yeah, we are working on that right now. But the model is working very good. So in our next example, maybe I can have a more raised hand right now, because who knows what a black box for an airplane is? Okay, many of you. Okay, for those of you who don't know, black box is where all the sensor data of the plane is stored. And while the pandemic, we had a lot of time to actually ingest that data. We have data like height, we have data like speed, geolocated data, fuel, in a time frame, long time frame for each flight. You have to have in mind that we have like 3,000 flights each day, the whole time series for all the sensors. We have more than 4,000 sensors to be ingested from one flight. So it's really, really big data. So we have to develop tools to pre-process data to then train models. So here's a really beautiful example where you can see some routes here. And these are actually like more than 1,000 flights from Foz de Iguazú to Guarulhos Airport. And what is the opportunity here? Well, the opportunity here is that sometimes when captains are flying from airport A to airport B, they can ask for clearance to take a direct route to the airport. So with a direct route, you can obviously reduce fuel consumption, reduce CO2 emissions, and obviously reduce the cost of the company. So we start clusterizing our own trajectory data where the captains are actually flying. And by that clusterization, we came to understand how captains are actually operating the route and how many of them are taking the green route, the blue route, or the yellow route, you know? And with that, taking an outcome that comes into the flight plan to actually recommend them to suggest or take a direct route to the airport. Obviously, that would create a really great impact because this scales to all the routes we have. And now we are implementing this, but again, the challenges are not mainly technical, are to gaining trust of the operation and gaining trust of the captains who, I don't know if you know, but you have to be a captain or a first pilot like 10 years to be a captain. So again, how are they going to trust us crazy data scientists, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, that's like what the operational side. We also have a lot of data products with our commercial side of the company. So I wanted to talk to you about a little bit our revenue management and pricing strategy of the company. And this is a really cool example we have been developing since the COVID crisis. So for you to understand this, first we have to talk about the products we are offering right now in latam.com. So you see here the basic, the light, the plus, and the top. Those are 4 different products that main airlines are offering right now. The basic is the one when you hold just a little bag. The light one is when you hold a little luggage inside the plane. And the plus is big luggage inside the plane. And the top one is all of the above, but with flexibility for your plane. Obviously, they are higher and higher prices for each of those products. So we have the opportunity here to understand how could we sell those products, like baiting our clients to take an upsell, like take the next product that they were searching for in the first time. So how do we do it? So the first thing we needed to understand was our input and how our customer behave on our website based on our pricing strategy. So first of all, you have to understand that a business passenger will probably buy their tickets the first day, one day on anticipation, or maybe the same day, because obviously the company is staying. But when you are traveling for holidays, you would probably anticipate a lot your flight, like 1, 2, 3 months before the flight, because we all want to like have some good and lower cost holidays. So those are really different approaches to buying tickets. So we start training a model who understand these behaviors based on our historical data in our website for our prices. We understood how people were behaving with these different price strategies. So what we do, we train a model to understand and behave like a normal customer, and then we create a lot of simulations with this model to optimize and understand what kind of different price interaction we could create in the website to, again, create an upsell. This model was really, really good. In the end, we have this deployed in almost every business we have. Right now, it is actually changing our price in the web page. And the main challenges here were also gaining trust of the revenue management team. We gained that trust by measuring all the things we were doing. Like we created a lot of A/B testing in one route and another, on-off strategies, and then we really we really could measure how much money we were making with this model. And right now, main challenges are with data quality, automated data pipelines to actually understand when we have an outlier and we cannot optimize all the recommendations we are doing. But yeah, really cool product, now deployed, and one of our most successful product right now. So, and in the last one I wanted to share is the fraud detection system. Well, it's actually the opposite of fraud detection. It's actually to unblock transaction in our website, because we have a third-party software that is blocking transaction based on transactional data. Like if you have, I don't know, some digital fingerprints with fraud. What we do here is we train a model that understands how our clients behave, basically if they have committed fraud or not before, and how much likelihood we have to have that the transaction is actually fraudulent. So with this, we unblock certain transactions, allowing our passengers to have better user experience, because if you are a false negative and you are not fraudulent and you get blocked and you cannot make the transaction, obviously it's bad for our user experience. And the main challenges here is not really to gain trust or anything. It's really challenging to have a real-time serving data, because you have to put your model, get historical information, and then predict in real time in a really, really lower latency. Right now, we have to achieve less than 100 milliseconds latency to actually don't interfere with the user experience of the web page. But this is obviously generating an impact of extra revenue and better user experience for the website. So I just named you 4 of our examples. I hope I did it right. But we in LATAM, we have a really, really, really complex and big playground to play around and to deploy machine learning models, because we have really good problems to solve. And I just told you about 4, we have like 30 or more. But obviously, this comes with a really, really big challenge, which is our MLOps strategy, because we have really a lot of models, and we have to manage them, perform them, and I leave to Nico our MLOps strategy for this reason.
Yeah, as Chris said, we have more than 30 data products with a lot of machine learning models inside it. So it's something that is already working for the company, and we're generating a lot of impact. So the company is taking care about those results, and we should protect those results, and of course, we should take this really seriously, okay? So you already know that these kind of tasks are so hard. There are a lot of people spending a lot of time just to deploy models. In this research, there are more than 36% spending more than a quarter of their time deploying models. You can see in the right side that there are a lot of people spending more than 3/4 of their time just to deploy models. So we were in the same scenario 2 years ago, but today we need to do this, but much more faster. So for us, MLOps is to put the people that is building those data products to operate those data products. We can say that this team is really, you build it, you run it. So we build our data products and we operate and run those data products. This is our vision. This is a factory of Audi. So you can see there that almost everything is automated. So we are sharing this principle. So we can say that we want to have all that boring working automate and put the people like data scientists to be in that kind of task where they could be much more creative. In order to do that, we define principles of MLOps. So today, for us, it's really important, for example, the reproducibility, deployment, automation, to have everything versionated, every artifact inside our data products, monitoring, of course, and we have metrics to push and improve all of them, okay? Okay, but what about our team? We wanted to share with you, for example, the structure of our team, but it's really important for us in our pipeline to understand that we do not start a new initiative without an experiment. So we start a new initiative, a new data product. We're making experimentation. So we need to validate or discard an hypothesis. And if we validate that hypothesis, we can say that we have a commitment point to develop that data product, but with the highest level of MLOps, okay? So just in 1, 2, or 3 weeks, we need to validate the hypothesis. Because there are a lot of good ideas inside a big company, but of course, there are a lot of ideas that doesn't generate much impact, okay? So something important as well is the structure of our team. We work as a squad. So we have, for example, Robert. Robert is the exploration cells. We have a data scientist, machine learning engineer inside it. But we have also product cells. In the product cells, it's another toolkit, okay? Because they are trying to develop data products with the highest level of MLOps. So over there, we have data scientists, we have analytic translators, which is a role that could measure the impact of our team. Remember that the mission of our team is generate impact, and that should be measured, of course. So the analytic translator is the role that could measure and could work as a bridge between the business areas and advanced analytics, okay? We have also machine learning engineers, data engineers, and front engineers because we need to put everything inside our data products. And we have another squad. This is enablers. And with enablers, we can have a floating capacity, so we can put machine learning engineers in some squad if we need them, okay? and data engineers as well. And also, this squad, this is a transversal squad, okay, again, could manage our platform, our MLOps platform, okay? Some achievements of our team with this strategy. Okay, we can be today into production in minutes instead of months, okay? With this, we have a really fast experimentation, and we have the business feedback so quick, okay? So we're learning a lot inside our business, and this is a much more autonomous team. So we do not need a lot of people to deploy models. We can just have one data scientist to deploy one data product in different environments, development, integration, and production. We have several squads working in different business domains with different business partners, with different, really different data, sensor data, marketing data, fraud data. So all of them are working in the same way because we have practices and we have a workflow really standardized, okay? And remember that we're an airline, so we should put focus on our business. So there is an abstraction layer for all those complex tasks, for example, MLOps. So we can put much more focus on our business. And as Chris said, we have several data products in different business domains. So the company is taking a lot of decisions based on our data products, okay? Of course, we're talking about MLOps. There are really fun and cool things about MLOps, like fairness, deployment. So we are improving a lot our MLOps level. And of course, this is a really good moment to work in our team because we have different seniorities inside our team, but today, the people that is more young could learn a lot and really fast of our senior people, okay? And of course, everything that we are presenting today is thanks to them. That is our team. So this is our presentation, and we have a space for questions. So, but if there is not enough time, we can join there outside. Okay. Thank you.
You have a question right there? Yes.
In particular, in that first example where you said our model is going to predict the last 100 miles or 100 knots, where are you going to deploy the model? Is it going to be in the airplane? Is it going to be in the airport? Is it going to be in
Okay.
Where are you going to deploy that eventually? Where that come to life?
Yeah. So no, it's deployed on our own infrastructure. We use GCP, Google Cloud, as our main cloud provider. We also have our MLOps tool, which is Iwasio, and that's where all our models are deployed. But where we give the business domain the output is like a challenge of its own. You have to really get close to the tools that they are using, because, for example, the extra fuel, for example, a dispatcher, who is a person who works in the operational in the airport, has to chart and has to change the flight plan to the actual extra fuel recommendation. So right now we are giving the output of the model just with a Google Sheet with a really basic front end, but really easy for them to understand and to communicate with that. So they can see our outputs of the model, how much extra fuel, for example, and then they change the flight plan. Obviously, the next integration would be to directly go to the system that has all the flight plans and all the management for the flight plans and directly take the output there. But to start with, we need to start communicating with the business so we gain the trust and then actually connect direct to the system. So I don't know if I...
Okay, so it is mainly pre-planning.
Exactly, it's pre-planning. It's pre-planning. Pre-plan the flight.
Changes on the...
Exactly. We gave extra fuel recommendation for each flight, and then they take it and they manage it and charge it to the actual flight plan.
Okay. Creo que por acá.
So, extension of what he said, is there any way you're considering incorporating the feedback from them? Like your model predicted something, and whatever they did or adjustment they did, that can be fed back into the model that will like increase the accuracy of your model, for example.
Yeah, like all the feedback data, it's like after a flight is all shared to GCP from all our systems. So the feedback exactly from them is like we talked with them. Do you trust in the model? Do you actually use it? Do you think that the solution is good? But when I was speaking of the challenges, is that really the people there need to make a choice. Do I trust the model or do I trust like my finger to the wind?
Yeah.
And should I say, okay, more fuel or less fuel? So that is really the challenging part. But we gain all the feedback from all the time. Like the model is actually predicting how much time it's going to take. So that data we are ingesting them from other sources.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you. Just checking out the other use case, revenue management upsell. On the slide, it said the KPI was extra fuel in the terms of the reduce the average extra fuel. I'm just wondering if that was the key indicator for the revenue management upsell use case?
Upsell is mainly margin for net income of the web page.
So, so you're maximizing the transaction.
We're maximizing revenue.
Revenue, but by your key performance indicator there is the actual revenue of the that's generated in that session for the customer.
It's actually a USD per pax.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Maybe it was a problem with the powers.
You talked about your journey from a team of 10 to a team of 50 plus now. So what all technologies have you experimented with, and what have you finalized in terms of technologies? You haven't talked about the technological stack that you have been using in all your endeavors and your 30 plus models that you're working on right now, data products rather, that you're working on right now.
Surely. You want to take
what technology?
Sí, technologies.
Yeah, for example, we're using a lot of GCP, the different service of data processing. For example, for that one that Chris was spoken, for example, data flow, because there are a lot of data. We're generating more than 3 terabytes per day only with the sensor data. So we should process that using data flow. We try to do this with BigQuery, but doesn't work. So we use a lot of GCP. We have also Iguazio to manage our machine learning models. We're deploying everything there, and we can track the performance of all of them. Mainly those.
I will add, like, a data scientist is normally working with BigQuery, doing queries for all our databases, and with Jupyter Notebook for coding their models. And then all the deployment part comes with Jenkins, CI/CD, Iguazio for our model storage, and obviously we use a lot of range of Google Cloud services. For example, Dataflow, BigQuery, and other storage depending on the use case.
The CI/CD is we're using Jenkins or CloudBeats. Okay, that is.
Right.
Yes, please.
Nicolás, Cristobal.
We can meet over there.
Yeah.
The last one? Okay.
Sure.
Yes, it's like I think one of our biggest challenges, because we have 20 or more data scientists, we do not have technical issues right now. So gaining the trust is like really difficult when you are working with captains, with pilots who are like also lawyers. I mean, people who have never seen anything from data. So how we communicate, how we make, for example, our presentation, how we communicate feature importance. But I'm not talking here about like feature importance or CHAP values. I really making them understand what a machine learning model is, how we train, what this does. They all think that maybe they are all if statements, but we have to show them otherwise, obviously with the normal metrics. But it's really challenging because if you want to to share them, for example, a confusion matrix. Even data scientists get confusion. It's called confusion matrix. So it's really hard that. So I think with time, a lot of time and a lot of data products and obviously when they see the results and we see what we are capable of, they all think that it's obvious to take the operational side to the next level, you need to incorporate analytic tools. And that, obviously, with the executive level, VPs and stuff, they're all aligned to that. But when we get to the bottom of them, to the people who are actually working with the models, it's a little bit difficult. But we are getting there. We're getting there. Like from tips, well, good power presentation, a lot of colors, really simple ones, to really, really make them understand machine learning as a really simple task to do, not as a really complex neural network. Basically, the real basic things that make them trust that they are not going to be like damaging the operation with our outcomes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for this great talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.